Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the regular open meeting of Vesuvius Town Council, Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026 at 2 p.m. in Council Chambers. So first of all, we will ask for the approval of the agenda and any late items. No, thank you. Councillor Chong, Councillor Poderica, all in favor. Thank you. And the adoption of some minutes, the regular open minutes from June 9th, 2026. Councillor King, Councillor Poderica, all in favor. Thank you. And first up today, we have a public hearing. And I will read the statement of the chair. This is a public hearing pertaining to the town's various land use bylaws in order to address a number of issues. Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw number 1375.11 2026 and the Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 1395.12 2026. Every person present who believes that their interests are affected by the proposed exclusion will be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard. We will hear from staff on the matter, then receive public input, then council will deliberate the issue before the public hearing adjourns. We will now hear a presentation from the planner on the public hearing matter. Thank you, Ms. Duong.
Thank you, Mayor. I do just have a presentation. It looks like I don't have sharing capabilities on my side currently.
So we do have the report from Ms. Duong. Are we going to? Or are we going to wait
Ms.
for?
Duong, we just promoted you to panelist. So I'm wondering if you have sharing capabilities now?
Okay. Perfect. And can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, I will just quickly pull my presentation up. And are you seeing that okay?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
Go ahead, we can see that.
Perfect, thank you. So yes, this is a public hearing that relates to amendment bylaw numbers 1375.11 and 1395.12, 2026. Just to give a quick overview of kind of the history of this file, through day-to-day use of our land use bylaws, staff have identified various issues such as gaps, various ambiguities or unintended consequences that weren't originally evident at the time that the bylaws were drafted. So with that in mind, staff had provided an overview of these issues at the January 27th Committee of the Whole meeting, as well as outlined potential bylaw amendments that could be undertaken to address those matters. So in response, Council did initiate OCP Amendment Bylaw number 1375.11, as well as Zoning Amendment Bylaw 1395.12. At its March 24th regular open council meeting, Council resolved to refer the amendment bylaws back to committee for further discussion on the proposed update to the parking stall dimension regulations, which were originally included in the zoning amendment bylaw. With that in mind, at a subsequent meeting on April 14th at Committee of the Whole, Council discussed the matter of those parking stall dimensions and had subsequently resolved to initiate amendment bylaw number 1395.12, subject to the removal of the proposed changes pertaining to parking space dimensions. Now, at its Committee of the Whole meeting of May 12th, staff had provided Council with an overview of a zoning issue which was identified regarding the property at 4601 97th Street, which would require rezoning to allow for the construction of a duplex, duplex dwelling as part of a broader townhouse development. And Council had accordingly resolved to revise the zoning amendment bylaw to include a site-specific provision to permit one duplex dwelling as a principal use at the property. Now, most recently at its regular open council meeting of May 26, Council had considered both of the amendment bylaws and resolved to give first and second readings to those bylaws and then scheduled a public hearing for today. With respect to OCP Amendment Bylaw number 1375.11, this proposes amendments to the riparian development permit area designation, as well as the map schedules to the official community plan bylaw. With respect to the riparian development permit area designation, proposed changes largely included the addition of new exemption criteria, clarification of existing criteria, and the removal of redundant exemptions. With respect to the OCP map schedules, proposed changes included corrections to the land use designation, as well as the industrial, mixed use, and commercial multifamily development permit area maps in order to reflect previous council direction as provided for through the adoption of amendment bylaw numbers 137503/2024 and 137506/2024. With respect to the zoning amendment bylaw, this proposes several amendments to the town zoning bylaw. With respect to the general industrial zone, it is proposed that alcohol production facility be reintroduced to the general industrial zone, which reflects a previous allowance for craft brewery or distillery within the then general industrial zone under former zoning bylaw 1085/1998. And reflecting council's direction from May 12, 2026, it's also proposed for the property at 4601 97th Street to include a new site-specific provision to allow for a maximum of one duplex dwelling as a permitted principal use of the property, and to revise an existing site-specific provision for the property which allows secondary suites as an accessory use to clarify that suites may be located within either a townhouse or a duplex dwelling unit. Lastly, it's being proposed to also correct a typo within table 10.7 of the zoning bylaw, which pertains to required off-street accessible parking spaces, which currently incorrectly refers to use as opposed to required number of spaces. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Duong. So we have not received any, we'll receive input from the public, but we have not received any representations that have been written. I will now call upon those who have registered to speak. Please note that this is not a venue for questions and answers or a forum in which to debate the merits of the proposal. When your name is called, please state your name and address for the record. You will then have up to 5 minutes to indicate whether you support or oppose the proposal and provide your reasons. Each speaker may only speak once. If speakers discuss matters that do not pertain to the proposed exclusion, they will be interrupted and asked to restrict their comments to the proposal. We ask that others in attendance be respectful of proper meeting conduct by not applauding or speaking out of turn. I will start with those in person, then we will hear from those online. And if you're online, we will call you and turn your mic on. I'm going to ask now if there is anyone who wishes to speak to this proposal. Sir, are you here for that reason? Would you like to come up to the microphone and speak? Please go ahead. Thank you. And turn on the microphone. Press the button. Good.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
My name is Ben Granger. I'm the treasurer at Paradise Park in Osoyoos here. And we've expressed on numerous occasions our opposition to the zoning bylaw, the 1395, which changed the, do you have any objection?
Was just checking, but I do not believe that has anything to do with today's bylaws.
Okay, my understanding from reading the agenda was any issues relating to the zoning 1395.
I don't believe so. Can you, Mrs. Coulson, could you explain what the difference is here, please?
Sure, thank you. This is just pertaining to those particular amendments that are being made to the bylaw, not to the bylaw overall.
Okay.
So those comments are out of order for this particular public hearing.
Okay, because we've asked on behalf of the park on numerous occasions to speak to council in relation to that, and so far we have received zero support or window of opportunity to be able to express our concerns.
Thank you. We have received that, but today it's just the amendment to the bylaw and not to that particular bylaw. When that comes available and there is a public hearing about it, you will be able to speak and you will be notified at that.
We would
time.
appreciate that.
Yes, thank you very much for coming today. Okay, so I'm just wondering if there's anyone online that is wanting
No,
to speak to
We
this.
have no one in attendance online.
Okay, And so I don't even have to call the first, second, third time because we don't have anybody else here. And I don't think that council has any concerns about this. And Ms. Duong, you don't have anything more to add to this? I don't think. Shannon?
No, nothing to add. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. So now we will declare the public hearing is adjourned, and council may, without further notice, give whatever effect council believes proper to the representations made at this hearing. Council members will not speak to the public further on this matter until after it has been considered at a convened public meeting of council. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the recommendation that was made by our planner, that the Town of Vesuvius Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw number 1375.11 and Town of Vesuvius Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 1395.12 be read a third time. Thank you. And Councillor Poderica is seconding that. All in favor. Thank you very much. Okay. So now we will turn to the 2025 annual report and statement of financial information. And Mrs. Robinson will speak to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The 2025 annual report is before council today for approval in accordance with Section 98 of the Community Charter. The report provides an overview of the town's accomplishments during 2025, highlights progress made on council priorities, and outlines objectives for the coming year. As required by the Community Charter, the report was made available for public inspection on June 4th, both online and at Town Hall. Public notice was provided through the Times Chronicle newspaper on June 4th and 11th, as well as through the town's e-news, website, and Facebook page. The recommendation before council is that the 2025 annual report be approved. And with that, Director Keith will speak to the Statement of Financial Information report.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mrs. Keefe.
Included with today's report is the statement of financial information, or better known as SOFI, which is required under the Financial Information Act. In previous years, the town included the SOFI report with the annual report. While the Community Charter requires the annual report to include the audited financial statements, it does not require SOFI to be included with it. My suggestion moving forward is I would like to see in 2027 that SOFI be presented to council as a separate report to better align with the legislative requirements and to improve clarity. The SOFI includes information regarding council remuneration and expenses, employee remunerations, payments made to suppliers, and other financial disclosure requirements prescribed by the Financial Act, Information Act.
Okay, and I am going to read this part. As required by Section 99 of the Community Charter, Council will now receive public input and questions regarding the 2025 annual report. One written submission was received by Cy Marcelli, and it is included in the agenda package. I will now invite anyone attending in person or online who wishes to provide feedback or ask questions regarding the annual report to come forward. Please state your name and address for the record, and every speaker will be provided up to 5 minutes and may speak once. May I ask, please, because there's no one in person, is there anyone online?
No, there is not.
Thank you. So there's obviously not a need for people to come and ask about this because they obviously are comfortable with it. Thank you. If there is anyone else who wishes to provide feedback or ask questions at the table here, council will proceed to consideration of the annual report. I don't think there's anybody, so the recommendation is that the council approves the Town of Vesuvius 2025 annual report and statement of financial information. Sophie, could we? Yes, go ahead.
It's on page 14 of your report. I'm just curious, there's 2 items We received federal grant in lieu for 19,000. Could you explain why it's so small or what it is?
Page 14.
Of your presentation, yeah.
Yeah. And which item again, sorry?
On the right side, it shows 19,000.
Oh, for federal grants and
Yeah,
that's considered the PILT, so it's payment in lieu of taxes. So it only applies to a few of the properties that are either federally or provincially owned, which we only have 3, which would be the post office, the RCMP building, as well as one public housing. So that amount is just what the calculated taxes would have been if it went through our tax system, but it doesn't. It's calculated manually.
okay. Then I got one
So
other
it's only for
question.
3
On the same page, in the write-up, you talk about 30 million in expenses, but at the bottom it says expenses are only 16 million? In the first paragraph on the left of that same page,
Yeah.
invoices total 30,788,000, yet at the bottom you said the total expenses are only 16 million.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I'd have to look into that a little bit further and get back to council.
Well, because it shows like a profit of 12 million, and I don't think we got that much money hanging around, but I hope we do.
Well, it says that we do have a net revenue, but I'll have to confer back to the financial statements and I'll get back to council on that.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who has a question? Considering that we have a question outstanding, is it appropriate to wait and vote on this until after? And no, go ahead, Mrs. Golson.
Thank you, Your Worship. The deadline for submission of this is June 30th, and our next meeting isn't until July 21st. Ms. Keith, is it possible that somebody is including capital expenses and the summary at the bottom is operational?
Most definitely. Sorry, that is definitely most definitely. So that is because it is total based on total invoices process, which would include the capital we have for, say, the road project or the water project, the metering project. Where below, we're referring to operational expenses, not inclusive of capital.
Well, I think that's great for the explanation, but if I was outside reading this, I wouldn't hear that comment. So maybe next time something like that should be included in the report.
Absolutely. I'll take that and
Mhm.
make a note for it.
Let's hope that people will listen to this online and ask a question if they're concerned. All right, so I will go back to the recommendation that that we approve the annual report and the financial SOPI for information. Would someone like to move? Thank you. Councillor Poderica, Councillor Chong, all in favor. Anybody against? No? Good. Thank you very much. All right, where are we next? The waste collection services contract extension. Director Madsen, would you like to explain that one, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So just a bit of background. In the fall of 2023, the town of Osoyoos participated with other communities in the region in a group RFP process for waste collection services. And those other communities were Penticton, Oliver, Summerland, Karamias, and the regional district of Okanagan-Similkameen. Part of that contract, or rather that contract was awarded to Waste Connections of Canada. But part of that contract, all the other communities expired on June 30th, 2025. Ours expired a year later in 2026. That's why we're dealing with this now. So we're now in the process of renegotiating this contract. Waste Connections has had some turnover of staff, as well as some capacity issues on my part. And so we're getting around to this now. Waste Connections, in my early discussions, they have offered an extension of a month and a half to bring us, or to extend this into August 15th. That'll let us spend the next 3-4 weeks finishing that up and bringing it back to council, hopefully for the July meeting, as long as everything goes well. in that extension contract, all the other terms of the contract, so the pricing remain into effect. So nothing's changing except for the expiration date of the existing contract. In those initial discussions, we talked with Waste Connections and identified a couple areas of focus that at least I would like to see. One is to align our termination date with the rest of the region, so that we can all stay consistent. And then just some updating around the yard waste and the pricing around that and how that will work. And then also looking at some options surrounding how we can reduce our contamination rate in the community with regards to recycling. So as I said, this particular report is just for the extension contract to August 15th. But if there's any other comments from council, we can take that now and I can relay them to Waste Connections during those discussions.
Thank you. I totally agree that it should be that we don't want to be a year off. That messes everybody up when everybody else is on the same date because we use the same contractor. I'm concerned about the August 15th deadline only because I don't think our August meeting is until after that. Could you have a look and see? Because we only have one meeting in July and one meeting in August.
You're correct, Your Worship. We've
It-
asked for this report to come back for the July 21st meeting.
Right, okay, so we couldn't leave it for a while, and hopefully get it back unless we had a special meeting, and I mean, that has been done as well, but it would be, can you kind of make sure, I know we've got July 1st and everything in the middle of it, but could you see if you could have it done, please, by the 21st of July? Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you. So could we have a motion, please, or recommendation that council authorize staff to execute the second amendment to agreement for the waste collection contract between the Town of Vesuvius and Waste Connections of Canada, Inc. Thank you. Councillor Poderica, Councillor Chong, all in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, and next is the Mrs. Keith, the Fire Protection Services, the Vesuvius Indian Band Agreement.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to give you a little background on this, I said the town has been providing protective services, fire protective services, to the Vesuvius Indian Band since 2002. Both the Vesuvius Indian Band and the town have been satisfied with the terms of the current fire protection service agreement and wishes to continue with the service. The current agreement is set to expire every 5 years, currently expiring December 31, 2025, which I do recognize that this is past gone. However, we did receive an intent to renew in September by the band. This is just more the official signing of the agreement, if it so chooses to go forward. The options before council today are that council authorizes the mayor and CEO to sign the agreement for the fire protection services between the town of Vesuvius and the Vesuvius Indian Band as presented. That council make changes to the fire protection agreement and bring forward for consideration, or that council does authorize the signing of the agreement for fire protection services between the town and the Vesuvius Indian Band. The recommendation put forward is that the mayor and council sign the agreement for fire protection services between the town and the Vesuvius Indian Band as presented.
Thank you very much. Are you going to ask the same question I was going to? Go ahead.
You asked first.
I'm just wondering, the intent to renew, is that an official notification that they have agreed to continue? I just wondered if
Yes, it is.
we're not. Okay, good. Go ahead, Councillor King.
Yeah, I guess the question maybe for the fire chief, with their new development on that property, do you find this agreement okay to support OIB?
There we go. The agreement, sorry, to Councillor King, through the chair to Councillor King, the agreement that's provided is based on assessed value, of course, but for us, it's based on risk. So everything we do at the Solis Fire Rescue Department for all of our clients is prepare for worst case scenario. With the additional growth that has occurred on the East Bench or by the band, we have been a part of that, being able to visit the facility, preparing for it, and like council will know, we've taken steps or are taking steps so that in the future we're better prepared, i.e. Use ladder truck and things along those lines. As we currently sit right now, I'm very pleased with it, and I believe it is reflective of the services provided to our friends and neighbors. So that's not only the Solis Indian Band, but also our agreement with the RDOS and the surrounding area. And I'm very comfortable and confident in the agreement that's presented.
Good, thank you. That's helpful to know. That's good. All right. So, we have three options here. I'm assuming that we might go with the recommendation that, number one, mayor and CAO sign. Are you making that motion, Councillor King? Councillor Chong is seconding that. All in favor? Thank you very much. All right, so we will go back and look at reports from Committee of the Whole this morning. So we need a motion, please, that council receive the report from Urban Systems as a status update for the Transportation Master Plan project. Could we have a motion, please, to accept that? It has to be moved into this meeting. Thank you, Councillor Poderica, Councillor Chong, all in favor. Thank you. And the second one from this morning, that council received the Parks and Trails Master Plan as presented. Councillor King, Councillor Poderica, all in favor. Thank you. Good. Now we will ask that the CAO provide a report. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Starting in community services, the Easy Dock system has been installed at Gyro Beach. Legion Beach Dock will be installed in the next few days. The Sun Bowl Arena roof RFP has been advertised, and the RFP closes on July 24th. At Sonora, they will be hosting a pickleball camp the week of July 20th for kids age 8 to 12, and registration is currently open. The first pop-up roller rink was held on May 23rd, and there were 48 skaters and 40 skate rentals. I wonder what the other skaters used. The second pop-up roller rink is scheduled to run July 4th. In corporate services, in the interest of water conservation and fire safety, the bylaw officers are now issuing tickets to those who are watering contrary to the bylaw provisions and those who are parking too close to the fire hydrants. Staff are training in a couple of new software programs, and they're working with finance to complete the compensation and employee turnover reporting. And finally, in corporate services, a new employee student has been hired, Nat Ibanez. So welcome to Nat. In the communications area, Facebook had over 7,600 views, and the website had about 6,500 views since the last council meeting. In surveys, the summer fun survey results are now on the website, and people love that cherry fiesta. Fire Smart survey went live yesterday, so we would encourage people to go to the website and complete that survey. In the planning and development services, business licenses have been issued to Sweet Smoke Vape Company, formerly Rialto Vapor, Valley Tire and Wheel, and that's a mobile tire changing and repair business, Asoyas Massage and Allied Wellness, and Toby McNeil Consulting. The planning department in the building inspection issued a do not occupy notice to one business that was operating without the required approvals, and bylaw enforcement has directed another unlicensed business to cease operations. In finance, now that most of the water meters have been installed, finance staff are developing communication materials regarding metered water consumption in preparation for the move to metered rates in 2027. An online portal is being explored that would enable the water customers to monitor their consumption in real time on an ongoing basis. And finally, just a reminder that property taxes are due July 2nd, 2026. In the fire department, since the start of June, fire prevention has been busy providing education to both school-age children and seniors from our community. Over 80 grade 1 students have learned fire safety techniques, including EDITH or exit drills in the home, while seniors have benefited from learning about fire safety in the home. For community events in fire, they've partnered with FireSmart at a booth in the Farmers Market on June 20th and will do so again on the 27th. Our FireSmart coordinator will be hosting a community barbecue at the Osoyoos Museum between 10 and 2. And what was the date on that, Everett? 27th, thank you. This event will allow residents to pick up FireSmart tips for homes and properties and to obtain information on program rebates and much more. And in July, fire prevention will be visiting with the residents of Sunshine Ridge to discuss home safety. And in operational services, an order has been placed for a new combination sewer Vector truck for delivery in 2027 at a cost of $699,687, excluding taxes. And 2 water main tie-ins have been completed now by Twin Con on the 89th Street project. And that completes my report, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Coulson. Nobody has any questions. Could I ask, please, that the CAO report be received for information? Thank you, Councillor King, Councillor Chong, all in favor. Thank you. Okay, we will now look for council reports. Councillor King?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. On June 12th, I attended the festival's fundraiser for the fireworks. A great event, sellout. I think they raised a lot of money. I have no idea, but I'm sure we're going to have a great fireworks on July 1st. So that's good news to go along with the rest of the day. And also on the 18th, I attend the Accessibility Age-Friendly Committee meeting. And with that, could I just ask Mr. Madison, has Mr. Davis talked to you about fixing the sidewalk up?
Director Davis has talked to me about sidewalks, but nothing specific, just that we need to talk about it. So there's a few different areas that we need to look around town and start addressing.
Thank you very much. Councillor Bennett. Sorry, Councillor Bennett is not here. Councillor Bennett had to go to a meeting in Penticton, so he's not here this afternoon. We'll ask Councillor Chong to be next.
A little bit more of a quiet 2 weeks, so nothing much to report, to be honest. Volleyball's going great, thank you, Councillor King.
Oh, okay. Councillor Poderica.
Thank you, Your Worship. On the 12th, also attended the Canada warm-up. Special society around that to have some good entertainment. We had a magician and really good turnout that night. And secondly, I just want to add that Decision Suisse has launched their new and updated website as of last week. So I encourage those to look out there. I know they're trying to make sure that all local businesses that currently have postings on their website, that their information is correct and up to date and reflective of the services that they provide. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. So I was up at Mott, Minister of Transportation and Transport, MOTT, anyway. Last week with Regional District, we were asked if we would like to come and ask questions. So I had 3 concerns that I brought up. One was memorial flowers along the highway. I was just concerned that some of them had looked pretty in poor condition and they'd been there for quite a while. So I asked what the status was of that, and Ministry of Transportation said that we were not to touch them unless there was any reason specifically to do it. I know that sometimes they need to be moved in order to cut the grass or something, but otherwise they're not to be moved. I asked them about old signs along the highway. There are a couple of them that seriously they should be removed because you can't read what's on them. They're that old. And they were going to look into that. And the third thing was bridges. And it was brought up originally when I was at a Highway 3 Coalition meeting, and we were quite concerned about the state of the highway from Hope to the Alberta border, and bridges in particular, because they're often the one-way route that people can get from A to B. And they did listen, and they said that they would definitely need to keep track on that. They would definitely come and check out anything that needed to be dealt with bridges. And of course, we know that last weekend there were a couple of issues on there. The RCMP and the fire department were there to direct traffic, while AIM, who looks after the roadway work for the Department of Highways, was there to adjust a few things and look at the spill. And I'm not sure that anybody has looked at or responded to that spill that was on the road there. And so I'm going to, because I know a little bit about it, and I'm not sure it was not a town issue to deal with because it was on the highway. However, they discovered that it was fertilizer that had fallen over in the back of a truck, and there was quite a smell to it because it was sulfur. But I do understand that this fertilizer is used in nurseries and in farms and that type of thing. So I don't think that anybody should be concerned that it was poisonous. It's quite well used. It does leave a bit of a green color on the road, and I think it will just take a little bit of time to get rid of it. But it is not. It's not a hazard. And we're just happy that there were lots of people, police and the fire, that were there to have a look at it. I certainly was at the Canada Day fundraiser for fireworks, and we're certainly hoping that the weather is cooperative and that the wind is okay, and that the fireworks can happen on July the 1st, 10 o'clock at night. I was also at an international Osoyoos Lake Board of Control meeting. And as I've reported before, the snow indices in both the Similkameen and the Okanagan are now at 0%. So there is no snow left up on the hills anywhere. We are going to see, after bringing the lake levels up to about 912.5, you're going to see the lake levels gradually go down everywhere in the Okanagan. And in the Similkameen, there just is no more water to bring in. So people who have boats on the lake need to be just keeping an eye on it, because sometimes people have those boat lifts and docks and so on. So just so that you know, there's really not much that we can do about it. It's the drought, and there is nowhere to find any more water. So we're all in the same boat here. And on July the 7th, there will be a meeting put on by the International Joint Commission, and it's on at the Sonora in Osoyoos on watershed board feasibility. It's from 6 till 8, and I'm hoping that we could perhaps have that on our e-news or on our Facebook website. And anybody who would like to go might be interested in finding this out. It's not just water quantity, but it's water quality and environmentally, invasive species, that type of thing. It's will be quite interesting. It's put on by the IJC, International Joint Commission, which looks after water on both sides of the border, and they're really looking for public input and to understand what the concerns are. So please attend that if you are available. Was at the regional district meeting last week. And one of the things that was interesting was that somebody was talking about a presentation from Energex, a wind project in Headley Creek. And so they showed a map, and it's actually it's not as close to Headley as it is to Summerland, but it's up in the hills between you know, Summerland and Merritt and Headley and Princeton. And it's going to be a wind farm. It'll take a couple of years, but it sounded quite interesting because I'm not sure that we have other wind farms close by here. So that was one thing. And also that the Betty Brown from the talked to us concerning the Jim Pattison Center for Health Systems Learning and Innovation. And it's quite an interesting project on, and I've got it written down here, healthcare innovation, local people bringing forth ideas, projects that might be help bring innovators ideas to about local government and provide ideas and take part in discussions. And they're willing to set up meetings and have people contact them if they have any ideas about what they might be interested in presenting to healthcare. So I'm going to give this to Councillor Chong because that's the group that he's on. And the other thing that I was at on June the 17th was the Osoyoos Forest Nursery. Fascinating project by Osoyoos Indian Band and KNC Silviculture. They have a huge piece of property, and I know that there was something written on the Times Chronicle about it. They're going to do forest seedlings, and fortunately, because I was asked to speak and I spoke about this, the seedlings mainly are ponderosa pine, lodgepole pine, and forest and what's the third one? Larch, western larch. And I said good that they were not planting any more cedars. Cedars are dynamite. We don't want those. Anyway, that was very interesting. There were probably 150, 200 people there. They have over 3 million seedlings inside and outside right now. And the idea is to produce up to 18 million seedlings a year. They will take seeds from places. For instance, I asked what was the range. They said North America, but when I looked at further, it's mostly BC and Alberta and close to here. But it was something that Chief Louis had got a grant from a federal grant that he'd got a couple of years ago. They've got it underway, and it's amazing because they can provide these for people to plant out in the forests. So great idea and a really interesting project. And then last weekend I was at where was I? I've been at a few things. I was at the ETSI event. It was one of our in-person meetings, 2-day event. And because ETSI has been going, Economic Trust of the Southern Interior, for 20 years, we had a 20th birthday party, anniversary party for this at a winery. And was very happy to have Mrs. Keith join us for that. And then we spent the whole next day at meetings looking at a lot of projects that ETSI has provided money for. And it's quite fascinating to hear from some of the people who have got money and brought it and brought a report to us and said, because of the money that I got, I was able to start this up and apply for other grants, and it's now worth way more. One of the things mentioned was the Okanagan Food Hub that is being built in Summerland. It's not open yet. So I asked, because I was at the initial groundbreaking of that last fall, and it should be open and ready to be used by anybody who wants to use it. Go in and make jam. Everything's provided in there. You can use their kitchens and so on. You just pay a rent in there. It'll be fascinating. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. And it's open to anybody in the Okanagan. You don't have to live in Summerland to apply to go in this. So it was a really interesting couple of days. And then we're now in the final planning stages for Cherry Fiesta on July the 1st. And by all accounts, it looks like we've got everything organized, and it'll be a good event. So please come out and support, because we know lots and lots of people will have company, because all of their family will be up for that week. Anyway, that is my report, and I will now move into the in-camera section. Pursuant to Section 91 of the Community Charter, a part of the council meeting may be closed to the public if the subject